Welcome to the Wasting Time podcast, the final episode of 2025. How we doing, Nick?
Yeah, good. Christmas special? No? Are we calling
I,
it Christmas special?
I guess we could. My reluctance with Christmas specials, I always feel like, because obviously this episode is framed around the interview we have today. So, like, if people are going to listen in January, which I'd still encourage them to do, they're going to be less likely
Right.
to if we make it too Christmassy. But we will say we're recording this just before Christmas, and it is the last one of the year. So as we
Okay.
record, Christmas is very much on our minds.
But it's not Christmas special.
I think
Okay.
let's say it's not. Yeah.
Christmas songs. What have we? Has there been any releases apart from Good Charlotte's cover of Fairy Tale of New York, which is a song that should never really be covered, in my opinion?
Okay. So I don't need to ask your thoughts on that. I mean, there may well have been. I haven't seen any others. Yeah, it's mainly just been that one. I was just watching their performance for Disney in front of the Millennium Falcon, um, which was which was pretty fun.
Yeah, something to look forward to next year, though. Good Charlotte over in the UK. Should be nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess Slam Dunk's going to be their only European performance. So, yeah, very much looking forward to that. It's been a long time since they've been over this way.
So yeah, it's been another busy year for us, I guess. Worth maybe
Yeah,
taking a little look back in terms of top moments, top
yeah,
episodes.
yeah.
What would you put in your, I don't know, should we say top three episodes of the year of
Good.
2025?
Yeah, so are we going to leave like four chord as a sort of separate entity from this?
If you want to, yeah.
So that's how I'll approach this
Clearly,
question.
you clearly thought about this already then.
But if I'm going to say top three, that's tricky. I would say definitely the last episode we put out, Travie McCoy Gym Class Heroes. I think that was a lot of fun. That would have to be in the top three. And then the Paradox was I thought was really fun. Came out really well. We've done a lot of good ones this year. Who else? I think the early November one came out well at the very start of the year. I think Ace
Yeah, he
Enders
was a
was
very
really
nice,
good.
pleasant guy, wasn't he? He
Yeah,
was.
yeah. It also did really well. So yeah, makes me appreciate it more. Yeah, maybe those three. That's off the top of my
Oh.
head. What about yourself?
I mean, Travis McCoy was great. And I think we've ended the year really strongly with him, and obviously Bill Stevenson in this episode as well from the
For sure.
Descendants was a great way to finish the year. But
So good.
I enjoyed chatting to Rob Kellis right at the start of the year again.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, because of course I mean we actually recorded that last November, but in terms of release, that
Yeah,
was this year.
release.
You're right. Yeah, yeah.
So
He's a
yeah,
lovely guy. Yeah.
yeah, and a different angle, I guess, to what we're usually doing as well, and hearing things um from his world as a YouTuber and
Yeah.
festival goer. The Atom Willard thing where episode that we did for the four chord stuff. I know you said not doing four chord, but I thought he was really good fun to chat to.
Yeah, I was watching the clip you made of the blind ranking the other day, and it just still makes me laugh. Just I think he's
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah, he's a really nice guy, and it was really cool for me. I was going through a bit of a difficult time, with my dad passing
Of course.
earlier in the
Yeah.
year, but managed to speak to Derek and Tyler in person. Very
Yes.
fortunate to be invited onto their tour bus and chat to them there. So that was a nice, cool experience.
That's state champs for everyone listening, by the way.
Yes, yes. Sorry, I should have said.
But yeah, that was very cool.
Another year at four chord. Should we segue into that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've covered four chord a lot on this show, but you know, it has to be done. Yeah, it was obviously our second time there, and ah, it was an amazing experience. I think anyone who's listened to the episode on that can tell that we were buzzing from it.
Yeah, and I guess we're fortunate to work with a festival kind of almost all year round. Do you know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah,
festival weekend and the build up to the festival. We're very much, you know, thinking and curating content as the
yeah,
year goes on, and it's great to be kind of part of that, and a big part of like what we do with the podcast and
yeah,
all
absolutely.
year round. So yeah, and obviously we got to speak to Rishi and Adam again as well to reminisce in our four chord special, which you can go back and listen to now. But it's nice to touch in with them and talk
Absolutely.
about the festival. A month or two on.
Yeah, and of course, it gives us the opportunity to speak to some amazing artists, the likes of Jimmy Eat World and Jawbreaker. So, makes our resume look very good. So, very thankful for that.
Yeah, what about other kind of big moments? Any highlights from the rest of the year outside of just kind of four chord and the podcast? Like, is there any kind of shows for you that stood out? Like any like big releases that maybe won't be featured in your Spotify Wrapped songs? Like, is there any?
I think that Girlfriend's record surprised me. I didn't expect to enjoy that so much. What about yourself?
I enjoyed the new Grayscale scale album that came out
Oh,
earlier
yeah,
this
that was
year.
in
It's
January. Yeah,
probably
yeah, that was
yeah,
good.
that was really early on. Yeah, a few new bands. I enjoyed that Burnt Tapes album. I know you weren't like
Oh,
too
yeah.
crazy about it, but I've been enjoying that.
That's good. Well,
Um,
I mean, I love them as people, so it's great to see them still at it, still doing well, and the fact that you really liked it, I think was really good.
yeah. Um, I guess shows wise, I haven't got to a lot of shows this year for obvious reasons, but to see the Driveways Boys in Leeds this year in like a small
Yeah,
venue and
yeah,
witness the reaction to those guys in a venue like that in the UK was um was quite special and obviously, you know, amazing to be a part of and to see people queuing for merch at fucking
yeah,
7 p.m. out the door. Like, yeah, that was a cool night, and obviously Rishi was there as well, so it was cool to see him.
yeah. That was that
Um,
was that was a great moment. Yeah, obviously the London show, and obviously we did the bit of content with them, and yeah, it's always great to see them doing better and better. And obviously they'll be back again this year, so that's something to look forward to.
Slam Dunk, that is
At Slam
official.
Dunk, it is.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So, and then obviously we got to spend some more time with them in four chords. So, yeah, a lot of time for those chaps. Should we touch upon our Spotify wraps very quickly? I know that yours is slightly affected by being the father of a young daughter.
Mine's gonna be redacted like the fucking Epstein files, basically. So I'm gonna go through it, but basically redact any songs that aren't worthy of a shout out, and are
Yeah.
just a product of my 3-year-old daughter, basically. Okay, well, number one is a song by Mufasa, so that is being pulled out. So interestingly, and I've always been a bit hard on this band, and this is totally four chord related, right? This is a four chord driven top song
Yeah.
is Came Out Swinging by the Monty
Oh
Years.
yeah, 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 yeah. You've kind
Um,
of almost done a. I mean, the 180 is not fair because you didn't hate them or anything, but you were
nah,
never
nah.
that kid. You were always a bit underwhelmed, not the biggest fan.
Yeah, and I'm still not like, I would never, there's not one album of the Wonder Years that I would just go and like listen to all the way through.
Really, really.
But I love some of those songs, and I don't know, that song's just like, yeah, yeah, definitely a standout. The next one is Waves by a band called Dance No Thanks.
The
Um,
Italians.
I
Yeah,
just hammered that on repeat for a long time, so
it's a good tune.
it's no surprise that that drops in there. Got Too Late to Say by State Champs,
Oh yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah,
obviously from their most recent album, which was 2024 still, wasn't it? Yeah, late 2024.
yeah. It was yeah November 2024, I believe that
Yeah.
was. Yeah,
Yeah. What's interesting is I've got some Amber Pacific in here as well. And I know that Amber Pacific record,
yeah.
I hammered it, and in my Spotify Wrapped last year, it didn't make the grade because it was like, I'm sure it was like a November release. And I
No, it was a
remember
bit,
us.
Nick. It was a bit later. I think it was February, so it was this year. So that's why
I don't think it
you're
was
no, no. So you're the
the
confusion happening.
singles.
No, 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 and also Will, who's the guitarist, was kind enough to send me the record before it was done, and you were the one person I shared it with, so you were listening to it before it was out. So I think
Right.
that's what you're thinking of.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then I put it in one of my top albums of
Nice.
2025.
That's
There you
that's
go.
great. We both
How many
love
have I
that
done there
band.
anyway? I've done three. How many are we doing? because I'm doing
As
my
many as
redacted
you want,
version.
because I have the screenshot of my top five, and I've also got the playlist. So
Right. Well,
I'll follow your lead.
I'm on top three. So
Okay.
four is Storm Chaser by Keep Flying,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay.
then five is Skeptic by Driveways.
Nice. Okay.
So there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll do my top five. I'll do it in reverse order. So I'll finish with number one, the biggest one. So number five, I've got Rejects by Good Charlotte, which obviously was a song on that record that I did like, but
Wow.
I
Wow.
didn't
How's
realize I
that
listened to it
made
as
your
much as
top
that.
song?
I
Fucking
was,
hell.
dude, not top song. This is the top five. So this is the fifth. This is the fifth most listened to one.
Still.
Having said that, yes, I'm surprised. I didn't think I listened to that as much because I can see number seven is Oblivion by Alkaline Trio, which I feel I listen to way more, but I'm going with what it says. Number four is Skeletons, Driveways. Number three is By the Way by Mayday Parade. Number two is Skulls and Flowers by Driveways. And number one is Skeptic by Driveways. So I
Oh,
think I've
there you
listened
go.
to a lot of Driveways this year.
Do you know what? I think I prefer Skulls and Flowers to Skeptic as well, so I'm not sure why Skeptic's higher than Skulls and Flowers on mine.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it
Yeah.
just might be the way it's like fell into
Yeah.
the daily repeats.
Yeah.
So there you go. A lot of love for the Driveways boys from this
Yeah.
side of the fence.
Absolutely.
Um, if you're new to them, go and check them out because
Yeah. Yeah.
2026 is going to be an interesting year for them, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're only going to do bigger and bigger things.
Cool. Any other notable mentions in your rap stuff?
I could tell you the top five artists I listen to, but based on that list I just gave you, you would know three of them, which is so Drivers were my most listened to artist. Then it was Blink 182, then it was Mayday Parade, Newfound Glory, Good Charlotte. It was all very on brand for me.
What was your listening age?
41. So only 2 years
Oh,
below my age.
not
So
far off.
pretty accurate. What was yours?
I think it was 40 actually. It was bang on. Yeah, look.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's literally your age. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay chances in the punchline somewhere it lands in my top albums.
Oh, okay. It wasn't in mine, which is surprising because I listened to that a hell of a lot.
Something to Write Home About was in my top
Was
album by the Get
was it
Weird.
really? Okay.
Well, it was the 20th anniversary, wasn't it? I think it was
Tw
20th.
20,
25th?
yeah, although I mean that was last year technically, but they were doing stuff
We were
around
doing the
that
tour. Yeah.
in Europe
Yeah.
this year, which obviously you made it to that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, we did, yeah. Top genres? At least my top genre is doing the business. Pop punk is number one,
Yeah.
despite my top songs being obliterated. Number three is lullaby. It's
I
a
just saw.
it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
top genre. Indie rock, emo, and rap. So there you go. What's your top genres? I bet country's number two, surely.
No, country. I think country's in there. I think it was punk, then pop like pop country or alt country, some country something, and then pop indie, and then pop. I think it was like that.
Whatever Post Malone is from that fucking song you played
E-
all the time,
exactly,
basically. Whatever
exactly.
genre that was
Yeah,
badged to.
yeah. And I can see looking at my top songs that again for this year is number eight, and it was last year was the year I discovered it. So I'm still listening to it a lot. In fact, I can see a couple of those Post Malone songs in my top 20. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a good year for the podcast in the year that we turned 10 as well, which just happened last month. And we got some nice messages around that. So thank you to everyone who sent those. And thank you to everyone who continues to listen.
Yeah. Decade.
Yeah.
Impressive. Well done,
Yeah.
Chris. Been
Thank
here
you.
since the start.
I've been here since the start. You've been here for, well, well over more than half of that period. So
Is it?
well done to
Fucking
yourself
hell.
as well. Yeah, I think you're approaching 7 years. So, you in the
Wow.
grand scheme of its lifetime, you've been there for most of it.
Right. Should we get into this final episode of the year then?
Let's do
Or
it.
yeah, or our man, Bill Stevenson.
Perfect way to end the year for us to have one of the main members, if not the main guy behind the Descendents, who are obviously a classic band in our genre of music and kind of like the forefathers of it. Although it's interesting to hear Bill's take on this, which everyone will hear shortly. But
Yeah. Very
yeah,
humble and
yeah,
modest guy, to say the
yeah,
least.
Yeah, so we got to spend an hour with him, and it was an absolute pleasure. I thought he was a lovely guy, super interesting, and yeah, it was an absolute privilege. Thanks for joining us, Bill. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I was going to say, where are you kind of based these days and right now?
For the last 30 years, I've lived in Fort Collins, Colorado,
Yep,
and that's where I am right now. Yeah, we started in the LA area, Hermosa Beach, California. But we've been living in Colorado for quite a while now, and this is where my recording studio is too, the blasting room.
the blasting room, of course, which is kind of a big part of your life. Well, has been for a long time, of course. I was just going to say before, like, so we've been doing this podcast a while, and like usually the kind of artists we have on is like more modern ones. So it's kind of like anyone from sort of MXPX onwards. So we've had some big names, Jimmy Eat World, MXPX, Sum 41 or whatever, but kind of bands from your era. We haven't had. I was going to say to Nick, we haven't had any, but we did have Jawbreaker recently, but. To have someone like yourself on the show is a big honor for us.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, the pleasure's mine. I'm it never stops surprising me or amazing me that people are into the band, or that they ever were into that, or that they're still into it. It's all kind of
Yeah.
like, wow, really? People like our band? That's so funny.
After all these years, it still feels like that.
Kind of, yeah. I guess because we had, let's call it, humble and pro- protractedly humble beginnings, you know.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of a long uphill slog. We know no hits at radio or anything. No big like, oh, we really made it. The whole world loves us. It's just been this trudge uphill.
I was rewatching in prep for this interview. I was rewatching Filmage, which I hadn't seen for a while, so I've got your story freshly in my head, having seen that. Which I know that's a few years old at this point.
Yeah, I guess that came out about 13 years ago or something.
Yeah, man.
It's funny with band movies. I think they have a big impact. I mean, I've watched band documentaries where it was a band that I was really into, but the documentary was just horrible, and it almost made me not like the band anymore.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then the other side of that is I've watched documentaries on bands that I actually don't like, and it's almost like I was watching it to sort of make fun of the band, or watching it kind of as a joke or morbid curiosity or something. And then but the movie was done so well
yeah,
that
yeah,
it caused me to take an interest in the band. Funny how that can work both ways.
yeah, for sure. What is your favorite music documentary? Any that spring to mind?
Oh man, let's see. There- well, there's Ken Burns Jazz, which is, that's in terms of VHS cassettes, which is how I bought it.
Of course.
It's 10, don't make fun of me. It's ten VHS cassettes. So, it's
No
long,
way.
but it's great. Oh, it's great. It's the greatest thing in the world, that Ken Burns Jazz video. over I've watched the whole thing through several times. But I mean, that isn't probably the answer that you were looking for. Um, I love the L7's movie. I just saw their movie um, a month ago. I'm not like the biggest L7 fan in the world, but I do like them, and they're friends of mine. But that movie made me really, really like them, like 10
How
times more
interesting.
than I had before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's going on for you right now then, Bill? Obviously, we've got Christmas around the corner. Like, what's in your what's in your sights right now?
Oh, let's see. We have just a couple months off here before we start back up with our shows,
Hmm.
and during that time, I had a hernia surgery, and so they'll kind of getting myself back together in terms of physical activity after the surgery.
Yeah.
And I've got next this coming year, we've got I don't know, 70 or 80 shows planned already. And uh, got a few things, probably going to do a few things in the studio as well next year. I I seem to like it the best when I kind of split my time between the touring stuff and the studio stuff
Yeah.
and like the songwriting stuff. When I kind of split my time between all that, that keeps me from getting bored with any one thing. There have been points in my life like where I was just doing wall to wall studio work almost the whole year, but then I would really get burned out on that. Um, and also been times in my life when I did, 200 shows in one year, that kind of thing, and then that gets a little
Yeah.
tedious as well. I do like to have a little variety in my life if possible.
And is that all the old Descendants shows coming up next year? That's all the Descendants, right?
Yeah, but I do think we'll probably do a few all shows in there too.
Nice.
Or I don't know, we tend to do a few here and there. Yeah.
And you got Frank. You're on board with Frank Turner as well. Obviously, one of our fellow Englishmen, and he's a previous guest of ours as well.
He's such a nice guy. Some of my buddies kind of introduced me to him years ago, and he's just always been such a nice guy. Um, it's going to be crazy going on after they play because they're such great just entertainers. I mean, aside
Yeah.
from the songs and the music, which is all top notch, but they're also really good entertainers. That's a fun thing to watch, Frank Turner's band. But Descendants we're not exactly entertainers. It's more just about here, watch us like writhing and sweating to get through our 200 beats per minute eighth notes. It's not, you know,
How long is a Descendant set in at this point in your career? What's the average sort of set length for you then?
it's like the main part of the set is just a little tiny bit right out of 1 hour, a little bit under an hour.
Okay.
And then we
Okay.
usually come back out and play for 10 or 15 more minutes as an encore, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's 33 songs. So I don't think you could compare that to, the E Street Band or the Grateful Dead or whatever. These people that can play for 3 hours, or even like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, they play
Yeah.
for 2 hours straight. But that's all mid tempo.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I think an hour is plenty. Me personally, just me personally, I think my favorite length for a punk band to play is literally 30 minutes. I think if a punk band doesn't need to play more than 30 minutes.
Yeah. It outstays its welcome. I agree. Like some of my favorite punk bands, like, I'm still like there's a limit for me. Maybe not 30 minutes, maybe an hour, I'd say, but anything over that is kind
A
of
lot of
go on,
a lot
Nick.
of punk songs are really short as well, so you got to play
Yeah,
more
you
songs to
can
get
get a
in.
lot of songs in 30 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose like Nick and I've watched Blink 182. I mean, maybe this isn't the kind of punk you're thinking of when you say it, but like they're doing like, what was their set, Nick, like, when we saw them this year? Hour and a half, something like that. That was,
Yeah,
I
maybe a bit
loved it, but
longer.
it was
Yeah.
pushing it for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that would be a lot of Blink. I mean, yeah, that's a lot. I don't mean it like that.
No, no, of
No,
course.
we're good friends with those guys, but I
I
just
know.
meant, yeah, yeah, Descendants, Blink, they should play for 40 minutes. Like,
It's
that's
true.
all.
And also, you say that's a lot of Blink, but I just remembered they do a Descendants song in their set
No,
in a
it's
minute. So,
also a lot of Descendants. I'm
yeah,
saying,
so it's one of,
I think
yeah, you
30,
as well.
40 minutes is 30, 40 minutes is plenty.
Yeah,
I really think that. I mean, in our case too.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, good. I mean, just kind of segueing into that a little bit. Obviously, Descendants have very much been cited by a lot of those bands. That pop punk mainstream takeoff that happened in the early 2000s is kind of, been Descendants have been cited as a real key influence to their sound. Your Blinks, Effects, your MXPX, Green Days. Like, how did that feel at like at the time and now, like kind of hearing kind of those bands talk about you like that?
I mean, at the surface, it's, flattering or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's not really, you know, accurate, I don't think. I mean, we're just part of kind of a continuum of music. We had our huge, massive influences, bands that we stole from and that we ripped off. And then maybe if we contributed something to other bands after us, well, that's fine too. But I mean, like say in the case of Green Day, I don't hear it. I hear Buzzcocks when I hear Green Day.
Right,
You
right.
know, with Blink, yeah, maybe the earlier Blink stuff did have some Descendants influence a little bit, but that's the thing. I mean, we were influenced by Ramones, Generation X, and Buzzcocks, and the Damned, and the Pistols, and Black Flag. We were influenced by all those bands, the same as everybody else was,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
also
yeah,
by the Stooges and the Velvets, and
yeah.
also by Eddie Cochran. I mean, yeah.
Just jumping to some of your material. I mean, something you had that I don't want to grow up kind of reissue with it being 40 years, which must be a bit of a head spin for you. But like, how's the reception to that reissue been?
I don't actually know. I mean, I don't really look at, say, reviews or online things. I
Okay.
mean, and plus, since it's a reissue of the original record, I mean, what would they really have to say about it? I mean, it's not. It's not. It's like whatever they had to say about it, they would have said it 40 years ago, wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I guess you're kind of always reaching new audiences, though, right? And Descendants have gone through various kind of iterations over the year, haven't they? In terms of like, Milo's career. Obviously, that's well documented, taking breaks from the band and what have you. Like personally, like during through those years, would you we how were you, where were you in terms of like your commitment to the band? Is that would you prefer to keep going, or like do you think like what like those iterations kind of just worked for all of you?
Well, I mean, the band did. We did keep going. Whenever we weren't doing stuff with Milo, we were doing stuff as all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, we did keep going. We kept going the whole time. We never
Yeah.
stopped.
And obviously you started to go down the production and recording route as well. Was that a little bit to kind of fill a void or not, or was that just something you were always kind of planning and
No, it
interested in?
wasn't. No, I mean, because All was out there doing, at least 100 shows per year, if not more than that. Maybe
Right.
more like 140 or, upwards. No, there wasn't a void, but the thing is, like 25-ish years ago, I started a family. And
Yeah.
so I had two little kids to think about. So I thought, well, if I can just do a little more studio work and a little less touring, then I can be home with my kids more, not be an absentee father. And that was important to me. So I kind of shifted my thing a little bit there to where I'd have more studio work, which, I can come home and sleep in my bed after a day at the studio. Uh, and so that was more, it was more of a, yeah, just more of a thing to be able to participate in raising my kids.
And on the subject of your kids, because as I said, I was rewatching the documentary earlier, and they were quite young. They featured in it briefly. Now that I assume they're in their early 20s, mid 20s now. How that was their relationship with like Descendants and all, and your career? Are they fans of it? How do they feel about it? What kind of music are they into?
Well, with my daughter Maddie, she kind of has a love-hate relationship with it because she'll always text me because she'll end up being somewhere and someone will go, are you Bill Stevenson's daughter? And she's like, Dad, I can't escape your band no matter how hard I try. Because she doesn't really like punk rock.
Okay.
She and so she'll send me a text of her standing with some person with a Descendants shirt on, and she's like, no matter where I go, I can't get away from it. And but then Miles, my son Miles, by contrast, he picked up guitar about 4 or 5 years ago, and so he has a band, and he actually picked up guitar, and he picked up audio engineering. So Miles actually works at my studio full time,
Oh,
which
nice.
is more than I do. I show up there, a couple times a month. Miles is there, you know, 9 to 5, 5 days a week type thing. So yeah, he kind of embraced all of it, and he and I, we like a lot of the same bands and that kind of stuff.
Nice. Does he with him being younger, does he bring like younger, newer bands to your attention that you might have missed because you're from a different generation, do you think?
So Miles showed me this band. You ever heard that band called like The Who, but it's like HU? It's from Mongolia, I think.
No, no,
Right?
no, I
No.
haven't.
Oh, okay, well you got to look it up. It's crazy. They do this like throat singing thing, like "Ooby ooby" or whatever. It's really cool. And so Miles showed me that, and Maddie too. Maddie's always sending me things. Like Maddie showed me Cardi B by probably uh, 10 years ago or more. She showed me Cardi B before Cardi B was a thing. And so no, I like that. I like to, generally speaking, I mean, I'm 60, right? So
Of course,
I
yeah.
shouldn't be. I'm going to get new music from people that are not 60. And my
Yeah,
my kid my
yeah.
kids are not 60. They're both in their mid 20s.
Descendants, do you take like younger bands on tour for openers much these days?
I think we do. I think we do. Yeah, I think we tend to have bands that are not super super well known
Okay.
with us, but sometimes we take, like, sometimes us, and like for the last 2 years we did a ton of shows with Circle Jerks, who
Yeah,
are of
of
course
course.
of course as old as we are, but then other times we'll go out with just bands that are up and coming. I mean, I like that.
Yeah.
It's what keeps music interesting for me, is somebody will show me something, and I just, if I'm blown away by it, that's a great feeling. I mean, that feeling still feels just as cool as it did when I was 15.
And I guess just kind of staying on the whole kind of production side of your career. Obviously, you've been part of some pretty big records over the years. Is there any that kind of stand out for you in terms of like projects that you're really proud of from that kind of early 2000s era?
With On the production side of it, uh, there's a handful of bands that I've done multiple records with, where I've done 3, 5, 10 albums with them. And so those relationships are real special, because those people are basically family to me. Because each record takes, a minimum of a month, and up
Yeah.
up to, like, say in the case of Rise Against, that can take closer to 6 months by the time, from the very beginning with the demos all the way to the very ending of mixing. So I develop, really, really tight, familial type friendships with these bands. And I mean, the ones I can think of off the top of my head would be um, Rise Against, uh, a Wilhelm Scream, Good
Hmm.
Riddance, No Effects. That's just like right off the top of my head, but then I'm
Right.
sure
Yeah.
I'm forgetting a bunch of them. These are people that I consider them family. Like when
Yeah.
I had some of my buddies threw a party for me for my 60th birthday, and I didn't know about it, but I walked into this room and I saw every member of every one of those bands I just mentioned were standing in that room. They flew here. They flew to Fort
Oh,
Collins
that's lovely.
to be at my 60th birthday, and it was like, wow, that's an awful lot of goodwill and love in this room right now. I remember I was really touched by it, even though I'm not the
Yeah.
kind of person that would take much joy in celebrating my own birthday, or I don't socialize as well as some people might. I don't go out a lot, but I was really moved by that. So yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how close you get with someone when you're working with them in that kind of an
Yeah.
intense way, where literally every day there are confrontations that have to be addressed, with song
Yeah.
arrangements or lyrics or melody, or how well someone is performing their part. Or so it's real close. It's like, it'd be like if you did like 5 summer camps with somebody, then that's like your lifelong friend at that point.
Has there been any bands over the last 25 years where you've been like, I'd love to get them in the blasting room, but you haven't, that hasn't quite happened. Who's on that list?
There's one that's just glaringly obvious, which is, why hasn't Pennywise let me record them? I mean, they went to my high school. They're my underclassmen at my high
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why haven't I recorded them? Like, who? Duh. Like, why?
What's that about? Whose fault was that? Is that Fletcher's fault? Is that Jim's fault? I don't know.
I think they. I don't really know. If they every time they're gonna do a record, they usually, like, Fletcher will call me on one ear, and then Jimmy will call me in the other ear, a week later, and we always talk about it, but then it never happens. I've even offered to, they still live in Hermosa. I mean, that's where I'm from. I'd be glad
Yeah.
to go out to Hermosa and do a record out there for them. I'd be happy to do it, and they know that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay. Well, maybe one of these days, hey?
It'd be fun.
I guess we just wanted to kind of go back as well, just to the start, and just understand a little bit more about like the shaping of Descendants and sound, back in the day. And obviously you found your place in the kind of LA hardcore scene back in the day, but obviously you were bringing a bit of a new sound, right? Like a bit, bringing those pop melodies into your punk influenced kind of stuff. Like, what was that like, that early era, in terms of like defining your sound and where you found yourself in terms of a music scene in LA and coming through?
Well, I remember that first year or so that I was exposed to the music. Um, it was like, a lot of it was Keith. Keith, from Circle Jerks and Black
Hmm.
Flag, Keith Morris. So he and his father owned a fishing tackle store. And I ended up working in the fishing tackle store with Keith. And Keith was always showing me music, but this was like kind of music that, before punk rock, and up to it. So it could even be, it could be like the Stooges, or could be some of the Bowie stuff with Mick Ronson on guitar, or yeah, it could be Devo, or things that were kind of almost, pre-punk in a way, or, the Saints, whatever. Keith was always showing me that stuff. And then when I met Frank, our original guitar player, Frank
Yeah.
was always showing me stuff too. And his best buddy, David Nolte, who played in the band The Last. And David Nolte would make me these cassettes, and it was just, my mind was blown. And then we would get Frank's older brother he would drive us all up to Hollywood to see shows, like at the Mask, that club, the Mask. It was completely such a change of just my entire world, the way I thought about everything. And that was the most important year of my life, I would say, in terms of just being completely blown away by something. There were so many great bands here.
Yeah.
I mean, in LA, just so many. You could just go out on, literally any given night. You could go out and you could pay $5 and you end up seeing, who knows, bands just all together: the Germs, Fear, X, the Go-Go's, the Weirdos, the Blasters, the Black Flag, the Alley Cats, the Last, uh, the Gun Club. There's just so many great bands, and it just it it really did. It blew me off my feet.
Yeah.
And then as far as how that translated into Descendants getting going, I really the simple recipe for Descendants. There's a simple recipe, then there's a more complicated one. But the simple recipe is it's like one third the last, and one third the Alley Cats, and one third that early Black Flag stuff. And I don't mean the Black Flag that I was in. I mean like the real Black Flag, the early Black Flag.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of those are kind of the elements because of the songwriting. We definitely were taking cues from the last. They were
Yeah.
they're also from Hermosa, and they had the songwriting thing just down better than other bands did. And they went to our high school, so it was just like right there. And
Yeah.
then with the Alley Cats was really that smooth eighth note thing, like the Batman song, do 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 do, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We stole that from them. Everyone kind of thinks that's our thing, like do 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 do. But that's from the Alley Cats directly. Their bass player Diane Chai. If you listen to her playing, it's just so smooth and so tight and
Yeah.
so fast. And then the early Black Flag stuff was really with just that dose of just blue collar, sweaty aggression, just to add a bunch of sweat to it, and almost like a hidden Black Sabbath coming in there through Black Flag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stealth Black Sabbath in the guitar phrasing and all that. And then of course the Ramones too, but uh they weren't they weren't like I couldn't go watch them practice. The Alley Cats, the Last, or Black Flag, I could just walk into their practice room and watch them. So it was a
Yeah. Right.
little bit different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you describe it like that, so like the amalgamation of all those sounds, I know Nick touched upon this before about with your influence on bands that came after you, but like going back to like the Blink side of things, you hear bands like them say that, oh, Descendants invented pop punk. But then you just describe, or certainly your early sound is like
But they
amalgamations of all those
obviously,
bands around you, and you're just like, so is it weird to hear people after you saying that you've almost invented a genre or a subgenre, you know?
I mean, I'll take it, but it's not like
Yeah,
I said, it's not really accurate.
yeah.
Anybody that says we invented pop punk, have they heard an album called A Different Kind of Tension by the Buzzcocks?
Right,
That's
right. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the blueprint. And if you
yeah,
don't want that
Okay.
to be the blueprint, then it's that First Generation X album.
yeah, yeah.
That First Generation X album, I have listened to that 900 million times. I would say for like for our band, like if our band had a favorite album as a band, it's probably that First Generation X album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So those are the real people, the Damned, the Ramones, crazy.
I mean, you talk about the taking in the LA scene and all the music that was going on. It sounded like it was really thriving at the time. Kind of, what did that look like when you guys actually started to integrate yourself into that scene as the Descendants?
Well, it wasn't quite so magical for us as a band. It was great for me as a 15-year-old kid getting Frank's brother to drive us up to shows and pay my $5 and just be in a small room with like say 75 other people that don't fit in anywhere else other than in this smelly little thing that you can call a nightclub but is barely passive some condemned building somewhere. But as a band, we didn't really get a lot of opportunities to be part of that first wave of like in the Hollywood punk scene. We didn't look the part, definitely, because we looked like we bought our clothes at Kmart or something. We don't,
Right. Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't. There's no blue mohawks or whatever it is. There wasn't. We didn't have the style part of it. But I mean, for that reason, and who knows, whatever other reasons, we just were never really invited to play those things. So we would end up a lot of times bands from the South Bay, so like Black Flag, Minutemen, Saccharine Trust, Descendents, uh, etc., the Alley Cats. So we would end up finding some random place and just renting a building for one night
Yeah.
and putting one of our buddies at the door with a bucket to take money. So we would do our own really, really DIY shows. And Black Flag was pretty good at putting those on. And then a lot of times they would invite us to play on those. But then sometimes we'd end up at these just really, really bad shows where it'd be way out in the middle of nowhere in LA, in some industrial part of LA where who the hell's going to go out there to a show? And those would always be, it would be like us, Rhino 39, and the Suburban Lawns, like the
Yeah.
bands that couldn't get any gigs anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah. But I think it all worked out.
I think that's fair to say.
To
Yeah,
be
so-
fair,
yeah.
we probably weren't good enough in the beginning to be included in some of those shows. We had to kind of earn our, what do they call it? Earn our bones.
yeah, and your stripes.
Earn my stripes. Yeah.
So our friend Greg, who does like all our graphics and stuff, we asked him if he had any questions for you, Bill. And the one he said was just around kind of like the iconic shirt, obviously the Milo kind of logo. Whether there's any kind of wild places that you've seen that, any unexpected famous people you've seen wearing it, anything like that springs to mind with that?
I mean, that's such a fun topic. The two that come to mind, my
Yeah.
two favorites
Go on.
are okay. First one would be the band Manic Hispanic, and they have an album. And because so I'm like a wannabe Mexican, all right. So this means a lot more to me than it might to anybody else. But
Right.
so they have an album called Mijo Goes to Junior College. Okay, now Mijo is a contraction for mi hijo, and mi hijo means my son. So the album, it says Mijo Goes to Junior College, but Mijo is just Milo, but with a J instead of an L. And then
Nice.
they didn't even change the font. They just put with a Sharpie pen with a little insertion caret and put the word junior, JR, period. So it says Mijo Goes to College, but with a little insertion that says junior college. And I was so flattered when I saw that. I was just jumping for joy. I have a t-shirt of it and everything. So that's been one of my favorite ones. And then another one is, so there was a show, TV show called Reservation Dogs.
Okay.
So this was a show, and all the actors and all the crew and everyone, it's all Native American. So, it's called Reservation Dogs,
Yeah.
maybe kind of as a play on words of Reservoir
Yeah.
Dogs. Okay. So it's a show about these young kids that are Native Americans, and it's comedy and it's drama, it's all those things. But there was a shot in that TV show where they're showing one of the young girls, and she's in her bedroom, maybe just kind of laying on her bed, and the camera pans around her bedroom, and she's got all these photos and posters and albums and stuff up, and it zooms in on this one thing, and it's an album cover, and the band name is Indigenous. So like where it would say Descendants on the album, it says
Okay.
Indigenous.
Yeah.
And then the title of the album is Milo Gets the Land Back. And
Wow. Yeah.
this was like between my homies, my cholos, having the Mijo Goes to Junior College, and then my Native American brothers and sisters saying Milo gets the land back. This was like, I couldn't ask for more than that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
really great.
I guess, the merch and the iconic logo has obviously been synonymous with Descendants over the years. And I mean, I saw before you've got a whole Christmas range at the moment on your UK web store. And I mean, you don't have to, even in the UK over here, you don't have to go too far in any kind of rock club or any environment like that before your Descendant shirt will pop up somewhere. It
Yeah,
was,
I bet it's, I wonder if it's, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that it's the second most tattooed punk rock thing.
What, after the Misfits?
No, after the Black Flag bars.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know. Maybe that Misfit thing. I'm not sure. So it's second or third.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think that's fair. I'm trying to think what else would compete with that. I think like the Social D one would be big, but I think that's not on the level
Only
of you
you're only
guys or
saying that
Black
because
Flag.
you've got that tattoo, Chris.
Yeah, maybe. True.
Was there a point though when you saw like the merch really accelerate and you were like, right, we need to lean into this? Was there like, or was it just a kind of gradual thing over the years that grew and grew,
Um,
like with your
just
music?
the same with the same way that the music itself was just a steady grind. The merch too is just slowly. The little cartoon guy kind of became more popular, more known by more people. There wasn't any. There wasn't. I don't recall like an inflection point. No,
Yeah,
Okay, it grew with the
I
music.
think one of the reasons this band is able to just still be together and still be just tolerated, where people are like, ah, Descendants, go away, is I think is that we've never had any of those inflection points. We've never been,
okay.
like
Yeah,
we've never been like the hot new thing. Never,
yeah,
ever in
yeah,
45 years have we ever been the hot new thing. And if you're never the hot new thing, then you never get to be passe either. So it's cool.
yeah.
And
That's an interesting point.
is there anything you contribute to that? Do you think it was kind of the fact that you were kind of stepping in, like Descendants was in and out a little bit and never like a constant, like from a as a live band kind of thing? I mean, is that
I couldn't really, it's hard to look back on it and have
yeah,
theories about why things unfolded the way they did. Because
yeah,
the honest truth is, we were just young, stupid boys from the suburbs that were just playing music and, you know, trying to be somebody. I mean, trying to not be alone. I mean, that practice room, and that was my world. Frank and Tony and Milo, those were I didn't have other friends. So that it was just, that's like my world. I mean,
Yeah,
when I'm dying, I mean, who do you think's going to be in the little hospital room around me? Who's it going to be? It's going to be my guys,
yeah,
my
yeah,
family and my guys. They're my closest friends in the world. No one. I couldn't imagine having friends as close as them.
yeah.
Very, very lucky. Yeah. I don't think I answered your question, but I mean, I don't. You don't always have to answer a question literally. You
No,
can you could take a little left turn on things, right?
absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what we're all about. I suppose in terms of us being a UK based show, I mean, you've been over this way a few times over the years. So you got any favorite spots in the UK that jump out when you think of it, when you think of our country? Any
Well, it's funny because when I'm over there, I have like pretty much one thing on my mind, which is not probably the normal answer,
go on?
but that's where I get a curry like twice a day when I'm over there.
Nice, nice.
Because
We
the
we
kind of curries that you guys have over there, they don't make them over here that way, which is,
I know.
so like what a madras is.
Yeah, 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 of
Okay,
course.
or hotter than a madras is the phall, phall, phall,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and that's what I like. I like
Oh,
that
you going for
phall.
a foul? Okay, yeah,
Yes, yes. And so that's all I think about when I'm going to England. I mean, literally 2 meals a day the whole time I'm there. But then with sprinkled in with, I like a good chippy, no question there.
right, right, yeah, 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 yeah.
And yeah, I've been branching out into, I went on vacation to Ireland for a week, and I really loved that too. That was great. When I was a kid, I was a little kid. I was obsessed with Monty Python.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I had 7 Monty Python albums, vinyl
Yeah.
albums,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I could right now at age 62, I could recite verbatim any one of those skits on any one of those Monty Python albums. I was obsessed with it. So I've always had a kind of a weird relationship with, I guess, with the UK
Yeah.
speaking voice too. Like I would, as a kid, I would be using my fake British accent all the time. I mean, I was just always in character of being British. Weird, right?
Yeah. Have you ever come close to meeting any of the Monty Python lot?
I haven't. It wouldn't be something I would do to I've seen a lot of my favorite musicians. I've
Yeah.
probably seen most of them at some point.
Yeah.
I've never gone up and met one of them, or shook their hand, or asked for an autograph or a photo or any of that. I've never done that ever with anyone, except for one time. uh, Me and Bobby from Bad Religion, we went to see McCoy Tyner play. Now he was the piano player on all that wonderful Coltrane stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
went to see McCoy Tyner, and my friend Bobby was too scared to get his autograph. So I went up and I got McCoy Tyner's autograph for Bobby. But that's
Amazing.
it. That's it. So I know I haven't met anybody because I like their art, but
Yeah.
I don't need to try to like be their friend. I don't know if it would help. I know when sometimes when fans try to, it's sometimes it's uncomfortable to try to, if someone's a real fan and they're coming up, oh man, I love your work, and
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
get away from me. But not really. But I mean, sometimes I think, well, John Cleese probably wouldn't want me up in his face.
I don't know, maybe John Cleese is a hardcore punk fan. You never know. You never
Well,
know.
I don't even care about that. I just mean like he what am I going to say to him? I mean, the whole world knows he's the greatest comedic genius ever. He already knows that. I don't need to go up and tell him that.
Fair enough.
Me and Henry went to see John Lee Hooker, you know, and so after the show, Henry wants to go meet John Lee Hooker. So
Yeah.
we go back, and Henry's like, it's an honor to meet you, Hook. You're so great. You're the greatest blues musician that's ever lived. And Hook just goes, son, tell me something I don't already know. And he turned around and walked away. It was great.
That's awesome.
I was just going to say, Bill, I mean, you've almost given us an hour of your time now, so we can kind of wrap this up
Yeah.
pretty soon. I was just going to ask, kind of, obviously you got a really busy schedule next year with all these tours. Kind of, what does Christmas look like for you this year? Is it about just resting and getting ready? Like, what does the next few weeks look like for you?
I tend, I mean, right with Christmas itself, I tend to get with my family. I don't know, maybe go to my daughter's. She's got a pretty big house, and her husband, and my daughter has 2 daughters now, so I have 2 granddaughters now,
Oh,
Wow.
amazing.
and
Wow.
so maybe we'll all go to my daughters. I don't know. We went to my daughters for Thanksgiving, and that was nice. Um, but right now, I'm just getting myself back together after this surgery. I'm exercising 6 days a week. I mean, on a regimen, like not haphazardly, but like on a regimen. And if you
Yeah.
just watched the movie, that in the movie there was the doctor.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. 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 Of course. Yeah.
right. So Dr. Mark,
Yeah.
he lives here
Yeah.
in town, and I met that man. I was on a stretcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and he was the admitting doctor, but he and I became best friends.
I love
And
that.
so I hang out with him all the time. We've been on fishing trips to Alaska together, and hiking up the mountain, and all kinds of things. We've done stuff where me and my son and him and his son have gone to Alaska fishing, and all kinds of stuff. So I do resistance training with Dr. Mark 3 days a week.
That's amazing.
I meet him at the gym,
Yeah.
and then I do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I go with my buddy John Snodgrass. You might know John Snodgrass of Drag the River or of Armchair Martian.
Yeah,
And so
Armchair Martian, I'm familiar
so
with.
he lives in town, and I do the cardio stuff with him on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I
Okay.
do the resistance training with Mark on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But a lot of times, John Snodgrass joins me and Mark on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So then there's three of us. Uh, and I've been just steady on that because I kind of got to get myself put back together after the little surgery. It wasn't
Yeah.
much of a surgery. It looked like 3 or 4 little stitches, but
Yeah.
they told
It
me
feels like one.
they go, you can't use your abdomen for 3 months. I'm like, what? How am I going to
Oh.
play drums? So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get myself back together. We'll start up touring again in February, and we got a few things in the works next year. A little bird whispered to me that there might be some talk of a tour with your boys, Social Distortion and Descendants.
Oh, hello. Okay.
Yeah, since you mentioned that earlier,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
um, yeah, a little bird said that might be in the works.
That would be fantastic.
Nice.
Have you toured with them much over the years?
We were never close with them because
Yeah.
they weren't. So if you go from Hollywood, you go Hollywood, and then like 20 miles south is Hermosa Beach, and
Yeah.
then another 20 miles south is like where those guys are from, Orange County down
Orange
there.
County. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we weren't really close with them. But what you find is, as we all get older, a lot of those bands that were in that first wave, we've all kind of become this kind of unspoken family. And like if you were around back then
Yeah.
we all kind of have each other's back.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
almost like a kind of a just an unspoken sort of a respect or something where we're all part of this. We're all part of this weird club that was just doing it back when there was no possibility to be famous or successful from it. We're doing it strictly because we thought it was fun.
Okay, I think we could probably leave it on that note, Bill. I just want to again thank you so much for giving us some time today. This is, as we said at the top, of a real privilege to get to talk to you for a bit.
It's been my pleasure, and I really do appreciate you guys taking time for us. And also, I just would like to say that the format of this, like how you guys are, the way you speak, and it's been very comfortable for me. And do you hear can you hear my coffee maker? Did you hear it? It was
No, I
just,
don't.
No, all good.
when they turn off and they clean themselves,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just doing that right now. So I guess if I didn't hear your, wait, what was your street noise that you were worried about?
Oh, so it's pouring with rain here right now, and I've got like an open.
Oh,
It's on the conservatory roof just through here, and I can
so
hear the pitter patter.
like a cat on a tin roof, as the saying
Yeah,
goes.
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Well, but yes, thank you very much for having us. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate how fun this was.
Oh, thanks for the kind words. That means
mutual.
that means a lot. And yeah, we hope your recovery goes well, and you have an amazing year next year. Sounds like you've got it one lined up, so that's awesome.
Well, thank you. Maybe the next time, if we're in England, we could go up and get a phall,
That would be
get a
awesome.
curry,
I'll be into doing that for sure.
or maybe
Sounds
even
good.
just a madras. Sometimes those falls are so brutal.
Yeah, they get a little intense. They get a little
Yeah.
intense. Yeah.
Yeah.